Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Georg Mack Plays the Classics. Save the land of Vacanti from the forces of evil in Valis 2. We won't see the original Valis until 1992, in 3-ish years, so we'll learn what led to this story then. Emperor Magus has taken advantage of the death of King Roglus and seeks to rule the land. Enter the heroine Yuko. Equipped with the legendary sword Valis 2, she has the power to put an end to Magus and save the kingdom through 6 levels of action. Yuko is a schoolgirl in the world of reality, but with the power of Valis 2, ascends into the world of dreams and becomes a great warrior. The remnants of the Roglus army seek to acquire Valis in a last-ditch effort to win the war. Yuko attacks with button 2 and jumps with button 1. Valis acquires one of 4 different projectile attacks throughout each level. You start with the normal blast. You can upgrade to homing missiles, which never seem to home in on enemies when I wanted them to. The dual weapon, which shoots ahead and upward. And the cutter, which was my weapon of choice. Each weapon can upgrade twice through your journey, becoming more powerful along the way. Enemies run on screen when you trip their spawn and are pretty easily dispatched. If they get to you, you'll take some damage. These fire guys in particular are super annoying. Dying during the level sends you back to the last checkpoint with the weakest level of your currently equipped weapon. You'll find the occasional heart to replenish some of your lost health. Red heals less than the blue heart. Heart containers increase your maximum health. There are secondary weapons that you can get a hold of. I didn't find the hourglass, but I did get use from the protective barrier that gives you a ball that circles you in protection. The crusher, which damages all enemies on screen. And the power surge, which grants you invincibility for a moment. These are activated by pressing up. They get used by accident more than I'd like to admit. Mid-bosses appear at set points in each level and stop you from going forward until you kill them. Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they require you to learn a pattern, sometimes they just want to murder you in any way possible. Big bosses appear at the end of each level and seem to be the remaining generals of King Roglus. They are relatively easy because dying while fighting a boss causes you to immediately respawn instead of starting from the beginning. Some weapons work better on bosses than others. I gave up on level 5 after not being able to have enough life to defeat the first mid-boss. This is when I discovered the debug mode that can be entered from the pause menu. Being able to actually have a weapon power-up made all the difference. Also, having to continue robbed me of my health upgrades, so I gave them back. I got to face off against Magus. Against his second form is where I confirmed that hitting an enemy with the actual sword does more damage than the projectiles. The cutscenes between levels tell a story that I found to be fairly nonsensical. Maybe knowing what happened in the first game would have helped make more sense, but I doubt it. Both Roglus, Magus, and their armies are portrayed as bad guys. At least the voices are audible and you can follow what they're saying. The animation window is curiously small, but goes full screen at certain times. In the end, Yuko saves the realm, and that's the end. When it comes to grading Valis 2 on TurboGrafx CD, graphics get a 3.0. Background variations and levels, enemy sprites, and animations are all above average in my opinion. Sound gets a 3.5. I think the music and sounds are pretty great. The only downside is that the looping isn't great, but that's a small flaw overall. Gameplay gets a 2.5. It's standard action platformer fare. The lack of power-up drops on each stage ruins an otherwise fine experience. Difficulty gets a 2.0. The first 4 levels give a slight challenge, but the 5th level becomes sadistic with the spinning spiny balls. Fun factor gets a 2.5. I enjoyed myself for the most part, but having to resort to the debug menu hurt my overall feeling of the game. Overall, Valis 2 earns a 2.7 and gets a B-. This is a straightforward action platformer that doesn't do a whole lot special in the gameplay department, but is novel in its story presentation. Well, that's going to do it for me for today. Please make sure to like this video, Let me know what you think of Valis 2 in the comments, and please subscribe to Head Drop Productions here on YouTube because we want you here for each and every video we release, because it is your destiny.